Solwit Omnes, welcome to this video lesson on Fabulae Faciles, section 31, the eighth labor of Hercules, man-eating horses of Diomedes. All right. Postquam ex insula Creta rediet, after he returned from the island of Crete, Hercules ab Eurysteo in Thraciam missus est. Hercules was sent, missus est, into Thrace, in Thraciam, by Eurystheus, ab Eurysteo. That's the ablative of agent, or personal agent as it's sometimes called. All right, and then why was he sent there? Now we get a purpose clause, ut equus Diomedes reduceret, in order that he should bring back or lead back the horses of Diomedes. Now, I think here, usually this story is called the Mares of Diomedes, so I wish it were equos instead of equos here, because in most versions of this myth, they are supposed to be mares, which are female horses, and usually in Latin, instead of equus, you use equa for mares, so in the accusative plural, it should have been equos here. That's just my little aside here. So they are male horses in this version, but it's usually female horses. Okay, continuing on. He equi, these horses, carne hominum vescebantur, ate the flesh of humans. Now, vescor, this verb for eating, is one of those puff V verbs, the 5 deponent ablative verbs. They take the ablative object, thus carne here, the direct object of this verb, is in the ablative case. All right, these horses ate the flesh of people. Okay. Diomedes autem, moreover, Diomedes, vir crudelissimus, a most cruel man, illis obliciebat peregrinos omnes, qui in eam regionem venerant. Tossed to them, right? Obliciebat is a compound of yakiebat, right? The verb for throwing. So he tossed to them, illis is referring to the horses, peregrinos omnes, all the travelers, all the foreigners, right? Peregrine falcon comes from this, and the word pilgrim, which is a word for a special kind of traveler in English, also comes from peregrinus, which essentially means foreigner or traveler in Latin. So he tossed all of the travelers, all the sort of guests, visitors, to them, meaning to the horses, all the guests who had come into that region, qui in eam regionem venerant. He's feeding them people. Hercules igitur, Hercules therefore, magna celeritate, with great speed. That's what we call an ablative of manner, tells how he did this. Hercules therefore, magna celeritate, with great speed. In Thraciam contended, hastened into Thrace. Now, if you're not familiar with contended, it's a synonym for, say, festinavit or something like that. Another verb of hastening. Or properavit would be another one. Et ab Diomede postulavit, and he demanded from Diomedes. And now here we go into an indirect command. If you demand, ask, tell somebody to do something, you're going to have an ut or ne clause of indirect command. Ut equi sibi traderentur, that the horses be handed over to him, that is, to Hercules. Cum tamen ille hoc facere nolet, when nevertheless he, and that he here is Diomedes, ille, did not want to do this, meaning didn't want to hand over his horses. Hercules ira commotus, Hercules, moved by anger. Ira is going to be, well, I'd probably call that a manner, although you might imagine it kind of like a means too. A lot of these ablatives, it just kind of depends on how you look at it. Usually we talk about means or instrument being a concrete thing, so things like anger and love and so on. Those are going to be more ablatives of manner. So Hercules, moved by anger, regem interfecit, killed the king, es cadaver eius, equis ob Ibiki usit, and he ordered, usit, his corpse, cadaver eius, to be tossed to the horses. Ibiki equis. So Ibiki is the, of course, the present passive infinitive. Equis, again, I'm used to these being mares, but of course here it's the masculine throughout. Okay, so he's going to feed him to it, and something that I like to tell people is, this cured them of the sort of eating of human flesh. After this, the Diomedes himself, he was such a nasty, nasty king, nasty person that they didn't want to eat people anymore. All right. Ita mira rerum commutatio facta est. So a wonderful change of things occurred, or happened, or simply was made for facta est. Okay? So what was the change? Isenim qui ante mortos cum cruciato necavarat ipse eodim supplicio necatus est. For he who earlier had killed necavarat many people, multos, with torture, cum cruciatu, right? They were being eaten alive. That's pretty torturesome. Ipse, he himself was killed, necatus est, by the same punishment, eodim supplicio. Now, I might note here, supplicium can mean supplication, that is sort of like getting down on your hands and knees, like I am not worthy, that kind of thing, praying to a god or a goddess. But quite frequently it refers to sort of the ultimate in subjugation where you get punishment, and usually death, right? Punishment in the sense of execution. All right. Cum haec nuntiata essent, when these things had been reported, nuntiata essent, pluperfect passive subjunctive, in the cum clause. Omnes qui eam regionem incolebant, all those who inhabited, incolebant, that region, maxima laetitia affecti sunt, were affected by the greatest joy. All right, so they were really happy. Maxima laetitia there, again, we could call that an ablative of manner. Et Hercules meritam gratiam referebant, and they returned deserved thanks, meritam gratiam, to Hercules. Non modo, not only, maximis honoribus, with the greatest honors, et praemies, and rewards, eum decoraverunt, did they decorate him, sed orabant, but they asked, etiam, also, ut regnum ipse susciperit, that he himself should take up or undertake the kingship, regnum. Ille tamen, he nevertheless, hoc facere nolebat, did not want to do this. Et cum ad mare rediesit, and when he had returned to the sea, navim Oupawit, he took or seized a ship. Ubi omnia ad navigandum parata sunt, when all things were prepared, ad navigandum, that's a gerund phrase, to sail, for sailing. Equos in navi collucavit, he placed the horses in the ship. Now, if you don't know collucavit, it's a synonym for locavit or posuit, right? So con loco, conlucare, or co-loco, collucare, it's a compound of loco, locare, a verb from the same root as locus, and it's a synonym for pono, ponere. All right, he placed the horses in the ship. Dende, then, cum idoneam tempestatem noctus esset, when he had obtained, noctus esset is a pluperfect passive, but it's from non-kiskor, which is a deponent verb, so I translate it active. When he had obtained suitable weather, sine mora, without delay, e portu solwit, he set sail, there's that idiom again, solwit, short for nawim solwit, from the port, from the harbor, e portu. Et paulo post, and a little bit later, equos in litus argolicum exposuit. He set out the horses, or disembarked the horses, exposuit equos, on the Argive shore. And of course that means they're near Mycenaean Tiryns, which was ruled by Eurystheus. All right, Bene bene. I hope you learned a few things, whether it be about vocab or maybe some of the grammar, some of the subjunctives we saw here, or the case uses, whatnot, or about the story itself. Valete omnes.